All right, so today we're going to get into a case that honestly sent shockwaves across the country. And it's not just because of how gruesome it was, but because of the sheer cold-blooded planning behind it. We're talking about a story of love, betrayal, and a cover-up so chilling it's hard to believe. And it all started when one man just disappeared.
And that's really the question that started this whole thing, right? One minute, you have Saurabh Rajput, an ex-merchant Navy officer from Meerut, just going about his business. And the next, he's just gone. No note, no explanation, nothing. Just gone.
But the answer to where he went? Well, it's absolutely horrifying. This wasn't some case of a person just deciding to leave. No, he was found right there in his own home, his body dismembered and, this is just awful, sealed away in a drum filled with cement.
Okay, so let's start with how this all came out. The story really begins with the shocking discovery back in March 2025 that brought this whole dark situation to light. And what the police found wasn't just a crime scene, it was basically a man-made tomb built specifically to keep a terrible secret buried forever. So you have to ask yourself, how does something like this even happen? To get to the bottom of it, we've really got to look at the three main people involved here. Their lives, their relationships, it all created this incredibly volatile situation that, well, ended up being deadly.
What we're looking at here is a classic but deadly love triangle. You've got the victim, Saurabh Rajput, the ex-merchant Navy guy. Then you have his wife, Muskan Rastogi. And rounding it out is her lover, Sahil Shukla. The police believe that Muskan and Sahil were in this together, that they actually conspired to murder Saurabh.
So, what's the motive? Why would they do this? Well, the investigation points to a couple of things. The big one, of course, was the affair between Muskan and Sahil. But there was something else. Apparently, there were a lot of fights about Muskan's alleged drug use, which Saurabh was trying to stop. You put passion and that kind of conflict together, it's a fatal mix.
Yeah, as horrible as the murder was, that was just the start of it. What happened after is what makes this case so incredibly disturbing. They had this whole elaborate and frankly brazen plan to cover it all up.
And the way they went about hiding the body, it was just so methodical. It's chilling. First, the murder. Then they dismembered his body, put the remains into a big plastic drum, and then poured cement over everything. Just a gruesome, calculated effort to make him disappear for good.
Just look at the timeline. It really shows you how premeditated this whole thing was. Police say Saurabh was murdered on March 3rd. The very next day, March 4th, Muskan and Sahil take off on a trip to Himachal Pradesh. And by the 5th, they're posting pictures from his phone on his social media, trying to make it look like he's alive and having a great time with them.
It's just the audacity is staggering, isn't it? They were allegedly using his own money to pay for their trip while using his social media to pretend he was still alive. It's like they were creating this digital ghost of him just to cover their tracks.
But here's the thing. No matter how clever you think you are, secrets like this have a way of coming out. And that whole elaborate cover-up, everything they built so carefully right after the murder, yeah, it was all about to come crashing down around them.
So naturally, Saurabh's family starts getting worried. They're asking questions, trying to figure out where he is. And Muskan's first move? She just doubles down on the lie. She tries to mislead them, telling them everything's fine, that Saurabh's with them on this trip.
But you can only keep that up for so long, right? The pressure was building. And then the whole case just broke wide open because of one single phone call. While they were still away, Muskan called her mom and confessed everything. That was it. That phone call sealed the deal. By the time they got back to Meerut, the police were already waiting for them.
So now they're arrested, the police have confirmed the gruesome discovery in the drum, and the whole story shifts into a new phase. Now we're talking about court cases, intense media attention, and just the devastating fallout for every single person connected to this.
And the charges they're facing are, as you'd expect, incredibly serious. We're talking about major sections of the Indian Penal Code. There's murder, criminal conspiracy, and destroying evidence. The murder charge alone could mean life in prison, or even the death penalty. This is as serious as it gets.
So, what's happening right now? Well, both Muskan and Sahil are currently in custody in Meerut District Jail. They're waiting for their trial to begin, which is where all the evidence and the full detailed story will finally be laid out in the courtroom.
And it's just such a stark reminder that the consequences of a crime like this, they ripple outwards. It's not just about the people directly involved. Muskan's own family, for example, is reportedly facing a massive social boycott from their community. The backlash has gotten so bad that they're actually thinking about having to leave their home, on top of all the financial and emotional pain they're already going through.
Which really brings us to the big question that's still kind of hanging over this whole thing. Was this a crime of passion? Something that happened in the heat of the moment and then just spiraled completely out of control? Or was this a cold-blooded, meticulously planned murder from the very start?
And really, that's what the courts are going to have to figure out. The investigation has done a pretty good job of telling us the what and the how. But that deeper why, well, that's still up for debate. As this case heads to trial, we have to remember that the final chapter of this awful story, it still hasn't been written.